Lucky Lefty podcast brought to you by ONORA Whiskey, ONORAWhiskey.com. That premium American whiskey, ONORAWhiskey.com. And if you drink, by all means, make sure you do so
responsibly.
You got to do it responsibly. Audio, edibles, each and every day. Don't forget, the merch is out. The link is all over the place on our social media, Lucky Lefty Pod. Early bird, 10% off. Early bird promo code, 10% off. Man, second half of the show, I'll give you another little tour of the store like we did yesterday to get you guys familiar with it. It's the Lucky Lefty Podcast. We spin it different. Also, go to YouTube, subscribe, thumbs up, smash it for us. Notification bell. Every time we go live, you'll know. Share, let everybody know. We are the home of the misguided passion. Started right here. That's what's up. I love motivating people like Jack Swarbrick. Love it. Absolutely love it. So what we're going to talk about today, Notre Dame coaches back on the road. Great question from you guys yesterday. Friday. I said next week. Friday begins media availability for all players, transfers, new freshmen coming in. It starts Friday. All right. And then it will continue into next week. So be looking for that. Notre Dame fans, you asked us yesterday. We'll give it to you. And then also stick around. Second half of the show, we have some video for you that is going to blow your mind when we talk about whether or not the quarterback position can ever be properly evaluated because of who we are naturally as people, just human beings. As human beings, can we just subjectively 100% properly evaluate quarterback play? I'm going to give you evidence to show that people that say they're experts at it are really bad at it. And we're going to give you proof. And just to keep you hooked, it has a Notre Dame theme to it that's going to blow your mind. It has a Notre Dame theme to it that's going to absolutely blow your mind. But right now, what's smoking? Brought to you by Fashion Geek. AlonzoJackson.com. Fashion Geek. We run the city. So, news broke yesterday on a certain platform that new transfer quarterback Riley Leonard was going to have surgery and could possibly miss the spring, was going to miss workouts in the winter, spring practice, and it will linger into the summer. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I can't speak for anybody else, nor do I say that anybody else's sources aren't good, right? Because I'm protective of my sources, and I stand on what I say and what Malik says on this show. But I will say this. Myself personally have known about Riley Leonard being on crutches and dealing with the aftermath of a surgery. But it wasn't something that he was going to have. It's something that had already taken place. Even people in South Bend had seen him on crutches. So this really wasn't like some top secret thing like, oh my God. Like pretty much everybody knew that the procedure had taken place. He was on crutches. He had been seen out in public in South Bend on crutches. So when the report came out, usually when we say something, I say myself, if I say something that might be incorrect, I'll get an email or a text saying, yo, that's not exactly what happened. during my Chancey Stuckey reporting, I never got anything. I just want to point that out. But there have been other things that I've reported that I would get something and say, that's not exactly how it went. And that's usually how it goes. So yesterday, when a report was put out and we saw Rob Hunt, who works for Notre Dame, retweet the post and basically say, incorrect, do better, I think that kind of showed the urgency of the situation. And once again, I'm not, dude, those sources that report, that is what it is. But we had heard over a week ago, might have been longer than that, that Riley Leonard had a procedure. It was a cleanup procedure, dealing with the ankle injury. We questioned when he transferred how healthy is he going to be? Is that ankle injury going to impact him being able to play at a high level? Is he going to be able to impact, which up until now is the best part of his game, which are his legs? And so this, was known as a tightrope procedure. David Jones put it in the chat. It's a cleanup procedure. Brock Bowers came back from it in like record time. And he actually wanted to come back a week before he came back, but they sat him out an extra week. So it was a 4 to 6 week procedure. He's already into that 4 to 6 weeks. He's going to catch the middle part of winter workouts, and then he's going to go ahead and be ready for spring ball. In spring ball, coming back to the procedure, I'm pretty sure they're going to have precautions for him in spring ball, because what they want to do is get him through spring ball, let him recover, and then begin to strengthen that ankle even more heading into the fall. So I know it was a hot topic, hot news. Everybody was wondering what the heck happened. And that's pretty much it. I don't think there's any panic in this situation. It's really just with any health situation is wait and see. This, ladies and gentlemen, is where Lauren Landau proves his worth. Riley Leonard's health, Riley Leonard's recovery. And I wish I'll have Cam McDaniel come on tomorrow. That's what we'll do. We'll have Cam McDaniel on Thursday and Friday to pretty much give you a play-by-play, because he's in the same mindset of Lauren Landau when it comes to recovery, strength, and conditioning. And I'm pretty sure he can enlighten the Notre Dame fan base on what is in front of Riley Leonard in his recovery and staying healthy. So we're going to do that for you guys. Because I know everybody still has questions. You have this report going one way, you have another report going another way. And sometimes you feel like, okay, the truth is somewhere in the middle. Notre Dame is saying this, and then obviously sources within the program or close to the program are saying that. What's the truth? Only thing I can speak is what I've known. And I knew, and I think most of us knew, that Notre Dame was going to be speaking publicly next week. Players and I believe some coaches are going to be speaking, especially the new coaches are going to be speaking later in the week next week. That's the opportunity to find out what's going on. And I was waiting to say, okay, Notre Dame will enlighten us. Riley Leonard next week is going to speak to the media himself. And so I'm sure he was going to be in a walking boot or on crutches as he walked up to the podium. And I'm sure that the media was going to ask, Riley, what's going on with your recovery? How you feeling? And I think Notre Dame and everybody connected wanted Riley Leonard to have the opportunity next week to stand in front of the Notre Dame media and say, this is what's going on. So it was kind of shocking that the report even came out yesterday, regardless of what it said, even if it had said the same thing that Rob Hunt and people within Notre Dame have kind of conveyed, and that's now being reported by several other outlets, which is he's going to be part of workouts in the winter, he's going to participate in spring practice, and he's going to be fine. All of us had an inkling of what had taken place and what was going on. So it was shocking that the story came out because we knew, we got the email saying this is when these players are going to speak. We knew it was going to be in February. It starts on Friday with the incoming freshmen, and then the transfers the following week. We knew this. Riley Leonard was going to stand in front of everybody, all of the Notre Dame media, get questioned, and give an answer to everything. So I don't know what the rush was, but there you have it. And if you need clarity, you'll hear from Riley Leonard himself next week and media availability. It's as simple as that. And until then, I really wouldn't worry. You know, you take the reporting for what it is, and then we sit back and we wait for Riley Leonard to say, this is what's going on with me and my body. That's it. That's it. There is no better source than that young man, right? What else is hot? Chad Bowden. By the way, MALIK is trying, he couldn't hear me, so he's trying to fix his mic and everything. Riley Leonard is a hot topic, but now we go to Director of Recruiting, Chad Bowden. Look, Sherron Moore is very smart. Why? Because Notre Dame has been kicking his butt in offensive line recruiting. Notre Dame has been kicking his butt in recruiting in general. One of the big reasons why Notre Dame has been smashing everybody in the Midwest, probably except for Ohio State, a large part of that is because of Chad Bowden and the job he does. And when you talk to these recruits, they could talk about the positional coach that's recruiting them. They definitely talk about Marcus Freeman, but there's not one recruit that does not bring up Chad Bowden. And the quirkiness, whether it's the Men in Black theme last year, the Leprechaun theme this year, him singing the fight song to recruits on Zoom calls, whatever it does, whatever he does, it seems to ingratiate Chad Bowden to the families and to the young men. He's a valuable asset to Notre Dame. And we've been talking about this. Remember, we talked about whether or not Notre Dame is going to make the decisions moving forward to choose winning. Are they going to make the right decisions to choose winning? And in doing so, they're going to have to step up financially, especially in this situation. Will they? But do they really, with the #1 class in 2025 that has a great shot to end up being top 5, does Notre Dame really want to get into a bidding war or want to ask Chad Bowden? I'm not saying they are doing this. I'm just saying, do you really want to ask Chad Bowden to give you a hometown discount in a situation where you're continuing to get better and the program is getting stronger? I'm just going to say it like this. Losing Chad Bowden would be a horrible look. Horrible. Horrible. You cannot step up and get Mike Denbrock and then turn around and let Chad Bowden go. You can't. You can't. They're worth, guys like Chad Bowden for Notre Dame are worth their weight in gold. Now, negotiations, what the School of North is offering, outside of financial considerations, as far as elevation and position, title, putting him on track to other aspirations he might have. I'm sure that's part of everything. But ladies and gentlemen, when it comes down to it, Notre Dame cannot lose Chad Bowden. They can't. Is he the only person that can come into Notre Dame and make an impact on recruits? No. But with all the momentum Notre Dame has, going into this new era of college football playoff, you don't want to play those games. You just don't want to play those games. And I'm not trying to count what's in Notre Dame's wallet, but I think everybody knows what's in Notre Dame's wallet. We all know. And whatever the offer from Michigan is, we all know that Notre Dame is very capable of matching it. We all know this. So what are we really talking about? What are we really talking about? Notre Dame has an opportunity. Once again, they proved it with Mike Denbrock. Once again, what do we say? What do we say in yesterday's show, ladies and gentlemen? When you're establishing culture on and off the field, there are going to be moments that test your culture. That's what we said. On and off the field, there are going to be moments that test your culture. This is a moment that's testing the culture that Notre Dame has from top to bottom. Remember, we said the culture isn't just Marcus Freeman, the players. No, the culture of winning is top to bottom. And you cannot say you want to win a national championship and allow this to take place while you're gaining tremendous speed and establishing a winning culture under Marcus Freeman at Notre Dame. We don't have to ask whether or not Marcus Freeman wants to retain Chad Bowden. That goes without saying. But ladies and gentlemen, this is a test of the Notre Dame culture from top to bottom. Flat out. And the number might be incredible, right? Malik tells me this all the time because I don't believe in max contracts for average players, especially in the NBA. Zach LaVine's not a max player to me. It's a bunch of players that have max contracts in the NBA that are not max players. But you know what? Your value is your value. And I don't care what the offer to Chad Bowden is. His value on the open market is his value. That's it. That's his value. And maybe some at Notre Dame look at that offer and say, is this the going rate? We're going to have to do some research on this. No, you don't. No, you don't. You don't have to research it. It's not that serious. How valuable is he to you if you want to win? That's the question. How valuable is he? I'll give you a little great example. I had a conversation with my wife about a situation that we had to deal with on Sunday night. 5 minutes into the conversation, she said, you keep reiterating the same things. And she said, I'm waiting for you to leave. And I sat there and I thought about what she said. And immediately, after about 30 seconds, I said, you know what? This is what we're going to do. And what she was enlightening me on is that we all know what the issue is. We don't have to keep talking about the issue and the problem. You're my husband. Lead. What's the solutions? Because I'm ready to follow. And I was like, I had to give her kudos. Like, yo, that's what's up. You're right. Notre Dame. We don't have to sit around and talk about the average salary, the worth. This guy's getting paid this guy's getting paid that. Somebody at the top has to take this moment to lead. Lead. Fix it. Take care of it. Take care of it. That's it. Just lead. If you want to win a national championship, show us the way. Lead us. Lead Marcus Freeman, lead the coaches, lead the players, and lead the Notre Dame fans all over the world. Lead us. I don't need to know the particulars. I don't need to know anything else. Lead us. That's it. And I think most Notre Dame fans would agree. Lead us. Show us the way. That's it. Show us that you really want to win. Show us that you're willing to do everything you need to do to assure that a winning culture is developed under Marcus Freeman at Notre Dame. Show us. This is the moment. The moment is now. These are the moments that lead to hoisting that championship trophy. Moments like this. It starts now. Show us. Show us. Because you can't hide from how valuable Chad Bowden is to this program. You can't hide it. The parents say it. The kids say it. Marcus Freeman wants him. The current players on the team wants him. They want him. I know Notre Dame is your money, and you want it now. You want to keep it. You want to be good stewards. But part of being a good steward is understanding when the situation is worth investing the money in. You invested in the quarterback room. You invested in upgrading the offensive staff. At offensive coordinator, you finally got a quarterback coach in Notre Dame for a school that's failed to develop the position. You went out and upgraded at the wide receiver coach position. According to reports, there are some preliminary talks to make sure that guys like Al Golden and Mike Mickens stay in place on the defensive side of the ball. Okay, it sounds like from what has been going around, it sounds like things are changing and things are trending towards Notre Dame wanting to do the right thing and making the choice to win. And if that's the case, is this not a pretty simple decision? It is to me. I'm sure it's pretty simple to a lot of Notre Dame fans, and we're not privy to everything. Like I said, I don't know what the school up north is offering as far as career advancement and elevation. It might be something that, might not be available. But if it's not available, create it. Create the position. Create it. If he needs more staff, give him more staff. If he needs a bigger budget, give him a bigger budget. Because I'm sure these are all types of things that the school up north are probably throwing. Like, our recruiting budget is bigger. Our staff is bigger. We'll give you this. We'll give you that. Step up. Step up. The time is now. It's decisions like this that ultimately lead to national championships. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? Lucky Lefty podcast. So we're going to check out Ethan Utley and Vernon Allen. Vernon Allen is a 2025 wide receiver, and Mike Brown is checking on today. City College, Maryland. Ethan Utley, big time defensive line prospect out of the state of Tennessee. He's 6'4", 275. Al Washington is checking him out. Also, Marcus Freeman and Mike Mickens, they're together once again. They'll be in the state of Tennessee. Dylan McCullough is in Miami. He was in Florida yesterday. He's continuing to do that. And then Mike Mickens and Marcus Freeman, they're going to move on to Ohio and do some recruiting in Ohio and check in on some guys in the 25 and 26 class and go around and check out some schools in Ohio. Marty Biaggi is going to be once again in Hawaii. It's not like that's a quick trip, right? You go out to Hawaii. If I were you, Marty Biaggi, I would make that like a 3-4 day trip. I would call back like, yeah, it's another school I want to go check out. It'd be like 3 or 4 days before I come back from recruiting in Hawaii. For the second straight day, Mike Denbrock is in Utah. Brock Harris is a target, big-time target at tight end in the 26 class. Joe Rudolph, he's going to be in Georgia at Roswell. Roswell, I remember about 10 years ago, Roswell was one of those up-and-coming suburban areas where you could really get bang for your buck for like a mansion-type home for like $300,000. Now, it's crazy. Those homes are somewhere around 5 or 6. It's crazy how fast things go. But Josh Petty at Fellowship Christian down in Roswell, 25 offensive lineman. We're going to check out his film on tomorrow's show, ladies and gentlemen. Gino Gaduli is going to be on 26 quarterbacks. Brady Hart is the kid that he's looking at of Cocoa, Florida High School. We're going to talk about him tomorrow as well. And then Chris O'Leary, they're invading Tennessee heavily. And one of the safeties they're checking on from Lipscomb Academy. Lipscomb is I believe Lipscomb is the school that Deuce Knight transferred to, and then he transferred back home. But that's in Nashville, Tennessee. Lipscomb Academy. CJ Giancali, safety out of Lipscomb. Checking them out. So, what do you guys think about that? Let me know what you feel about this Riley Leonard situation. Because it is, I didn't know that, Elizabeth. Okay. Elizabeth Crook. I didn't know Roswell was around the corner from you. It's funny because I'm actually, I have family down there, and they were telling me that just east of the airport now, East Atlanta is like a hotbed. It's a lot of reconstruction of old homes. Ladies and gentlemen, I always had a dream of having a home in a hot weather climate, one of those old country homes with a big wraparound porch. I could put my rocking chair, out front with a nice little glass of sweet tea, in a mason jar. That's like a dream I have in the future. Gino says, is it too late to give back the NIL money on Riley Leonard? Just saying. Ladies and gentlemen, man, we just have to be patient. We just have to be patient, right? You just have to be patient. Riley Leonard is going to face the media, and he's going to be able to update us all on what's going on. That's it. I see Sweet Twisted Tea, Irish Steel. That's what's up. I love golfing in Arizona, Gino. I already love Arizona. Chris Ayers says he thinks Leonard will be fine in 2024 and be ready for opening day. Until I hear otherwise, I agree with you, Chris. I'm going to be honest. Michael Campbell, very interesting. Not having a GM position on the Notre Dame staff to begin which exposes more Notre Dame holes when a national championship team has officially offered a job you don't even have on payroll. That is something I talked about. Like, elevation, career path, things we don't know, aspirations that Chad Bowden has, right? These are things that are part of the negotiations. These are things that have to be discussed. These are things, like Michael said, if they don't exist, they're created. Created. What are we doing? We're erasing a title and inputting another title in the computers, in the database, in the file. Okay. Notre Dame has the leverage. Chad Bowden loves Notre Dame. Loves working with Marcus Freeman. It's a new situation, a new head coach at Michigan. This isn't, I'm going to be the GM at Michigan with a big time raise and Jim Harbaugh is there. This is Sherrone Moore, new coach. You don't know how that's going to go. You don't know if he can keep the thing going. I understand Michigan. Michigan is like, yo, we're going all in. Salute to Michigan. Because Michigan is like, we just won the national championship, averaging recruiting classes at 11, I believe, over the last 3 seasons. We just won a national championship with an average recruiting class ranking 11. If we get Chad Bowden, we're going to bump that up at Michigan. So that's going to give us an even greater chance to go ahead and win it again. So it's a great move. It's a great move. Like, they're forcing Notre Dame, who is their biggest rival in recruiting in the Midwest outside of Ohio State, they're forcing Notre Dame they're up in the ante. They're at the poker table, they're the champions, and they're pushing all their chips into the middle of the table to support Sherrone Moore. I would do the exact same thing if I were Michigan. I would do the exact same thing. I'm sorry, the Shark 83. Chad Bowden doesn't care about that scandal, bro. These negotiations have nothing to do with the Michigan cheating scandal. This is career opportunity. This is financial stability for your family. It is what it is. It's business. It's business. Forget all the love, forget all the relationships. Let's talk business. And the business culture is going to have to seize this moment at Notre Dame and pay that man his money. He beat me straight up. Pay the man his money. That's it. It's very simple. This is not, ladies and gentlemen, this is not a we can ask questions, we can try to figure out what's the offer, this, that. Either he has value to you or he doesn't. Because whatever is valuable to you, you will pay compensation to in energy, time, and money. Whatever is valuable to you in life, you will give your energy, your time, and your money to. It's as simple as that. It's as simple as that. Antoine Rideau brings up, let's talk about this before we transition. And you guys, give me about 5 minutes because I'm about to play a video for you that's going to absolutely blow your minds, that has a Notre Dame thing when it comes to the ability to subjectively evaluate the quarterback position. Antoine Rideau says Cam Hart was shutting wide receivers down and he's beyond underrated. Ladies and gentlemen, for 2 years, I have sat on this show and constantly said When Cam Hart is healthy, he dominates. When Cam Hart isn't healthy, he doesn't look as good. Cam Hart has played at 70%, 75% for Notre Dame. Games he should have sat out, he played in. You know why? Because he had to. Think about this. Regardless of whether or not you believe he wanted to make the switch or Notre Dame asked him to make the switch, he switches to defensive back from wide receiver and immediately becomes the shutdown corner. Where does that happen? Where? You got Travis Hunter, who plays both ways. But at what big time program does a guy come over from wide receiver and immediately becomes the number one defensive back? It's amazing to me the shots that Cam Hart took from Notre Dame fans when we consistently tried to tell people this man is out there playing against the best receiver week in, week out at 70, 75%. He's playing with core injuries. Do you know how difficult core injuries are? He's playing with multiple injuries. He's dealing with a hamstring and an abductor. Both not 100%. Trying to play against first round, second round talented wide receivers and being the number one. And dude, that's all Notre Dame fans did was nitpick. He's grabby. He's this. He's that. And I still can't remember one receiver embarrassing this dude in a game, going for like 8 catches for 150 yards and 2 touchdowns. Still can't remember. But we just nitpick, not understanding the nuance of the situation. The fact that the defensive back room at Notre Dame was desolate, and he was the saving grace. When he switched to defensive back, there was no depth in that defensive back room. None. Absolutely none. And he was injured, shouldn't be playing, and he went out there and soldiered through it. You know why? Because Notre Dame needed him to. And he knew the program needed him to soldier through and play at 70%, play at 75%. Because there was no one behind him. After him, there was a drop off. Fast forward to this year. Every time anything happened to Cam Hart, Notre Dame said, nope, come on out. Come on out. You know why they could say that this year? Because they had Jaden Mickey, they had Christian Gray, and they had Benjamin Morrison. They had depth. Cam Hart has given so much. This is why I'm so adamant about Notre Dame dropping the ball when it came to Cam Hart and JD Bertrand on senior day. This is why I don't play that game, that political game, that PR game, because Wake Forest is in the building. His former coach is in the building. I'm darn about that. That dude ain't Notre Dame. JD Bertrand and Cam Hart, that is the heartbeat of what Notre Dame is all about. JD Bertrand, overachiever. JD Bertrand, academic All-American. Cam Hart literally gave his body for the program. That's Notre Dame. That's what Notre Dame football is. That's what the fan base wears around their neck. That's what they hold on to, because it hasn't been national championships. It's about the pride. It's about playing for the program. It's about praying for the legacy. It's about being there for your brothers and the brotherhood that exists amongst all Notre Dame players. And it's about being a great dude off the field. And both of those young men are being recognized this week down in Mobile because people are finally getting to see, God, dog, these dudes can play. If you remember, we previewed the North Carolina State game, and that was the first time we had our friend from Locked On ACC, Ken Gibbs, on the show. And Ken Gibbs flat out said, they talk about 20, but he was like, number 5 is a day one NFL player. That's somebody else that covers another team watching film. That was like, y'all keep talking about number 20. The dude in that secondary is number 5. And day one of the Senior Bowl practice confirmed what we've been saying. When Cam Hart is healthy, he's a dude. Period. When he's healthy, he's a dude. This year he was healthy and he was a dude. Statistically, had a better season than Benjamin Morrison. He's a dude. So when I see people posting videos like, oh man, Cam Hart, I'm like, dude, we've been telling you this. He's a dude. He's a dude. And it's amazing that the Bronco Nagurski winner is a wide receiver that switched positions to defensive back and somehow just became the dude at safety. Only it, man. Notre Dame must have a trademark for getting wide receivers to be award-winning first round, second round NFL draft picks in the defensive backfield. Maybe that's a trademark. Maybe I need to start looking at wide receivers that are currently at that position to see who can switch over to defensive backfield. Because the ones that do make that switch at Notre Dame end up being pretty good players. They end up being pretty good players. So we'll wait to see. Indianapolis is going to be huge. JD Bertrand, I said that somebody questioned me. I said, JD Bertrand is going to make, I said, I can't promise you whether or not JD Bertrand is going to get drafted. But JD Bertrand is going to be in the NFL. First of all, because Notre Dame prepares players for the professional atmosphere probably better than 97% of the schools in college football. That's a fact. Just look at them and where they rank as far as putting players in the NFL that make NFL rosters. And then how many of those players get better and improve. And how many NFL coaches say, yo, this kid, yeah. You know why? Because they're better than you think. JD Bertrand is going to be one of those kids that comes into camp. He's going to work his tail off to get on special teams and be a great special teams player. And then some team is going to realize, oh, man, we can actually use this dude on defense in this package. Yeah. And he's going to stick for about 5-7 years, get his pension, leave the NFL, and go be whatever he wants to be in business. So I'm not shocked to hear good things about JD Bertrand. I'm not shocked to hear good things about Maris Leafow. The same thing with Maris. When they get to Indianapolis for the combine, the same thing with Cam Hart. If the measurables check out, people are going to fall in love with him. I don't know what round he's going to be drafted in, but it is what it is. It is what it is. Lucky Lefty podcast. Not shocked at all that Notre Dame players are playing well. I just thought it was funny that the clip that most people put up on social media or responded to with Cam Hart locking down Tez Walker and getting the interception. You know who the quarterback was on that rep? Ladies and gentlemen, Sam Hartman. I'll leave it at that. We'll be right back. Lucky Lefty Podcast. You already know. We spin it different. Back at it. Lucky Lefty Podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to get the film on Ethan Utley, 25 defensive linemen that the Fighting Irish are checking out today. Al Washington is down in Tennessee today. Checking it out. This kid, 264, 275. Woo! Gotta love him, right? Versatility. 3-man front, play outside, play the big end. Bring him inside, rush the passer. Get him backfield, tackle for losses. Great film. Then we're going to look at Vernon Allen, kid from D.C., Mike Brown. Look, anytime it's starting to get Mike Mickens-like, right? Anytime I see a new name that Mike Brown is checking on, I immediately look and say, oh, I got to watch this film. This kid has to be. Now we have to see it on the field the way we see it from Mike Mickens and the guys that he's handpicked and recruited. But from an evaluation standpoint and a first impression standpoint on the recruiting trail, hearing fantastic things about wide receiver coach Mike Brown. We'll get to those young players and their film coming up in a minute. But I want to play you guys. Bear with me because this is about 5 to 6 minutes. But I tried to cut it down, and I said I can't take anything out. I have to allow the Notre Dame fan base to really hear all of this and watch all of this. So I want to say and give credit to my guy, Lawrence Holmes. He's a really good dude. He hosts the afternoon show on 670 The Score here in Chicago. Yesterday, he had a great conversation about the experts that cover quarterback evaluation. I want you guys to check this out and give it a listen. Lawrence Holmes from 670 The Score talking about quarterback evaluation and the Notre Dame twist that comes in the middle of this. You're going to enjoy it. Take a listen.
Really enjoy talking to draft analysts, and those who can't see me on Twitch, I am using air quotes. I think that they have a lot of value because there's stuff that they're watching that maybe we aren't watching. They're more than likely watching more college football than we are, and they're talking to people like a lot of people like Kuiper who have grown their business do get an opportunity to talk to NFL front offices. Caveat emptor is all I would say when it comes to that. Look, we're going to have a bunch of them on. We had Daniel Jeremiah on last week. I really like him. I like Bucky Brooks. I like a lot of the people that do this. It's become its own industry, its own cottage industry inside of NFL. And these are the things that I want folks to be careful about when they are hitching their wagon to any quarterback. That you heard that this quarterback is the top quarterback in this class. This quarterback is generational. This quarterback is like Patrick Mahomes. I want you to take a listen to like this recap. And I'm going to use 2017 as the lesson here. So take this into account. This is actually from the Cleveland Browns website. Before the draft, they took a look at what the consensus was for people who are in the draft business. And a lot of the names you will recognize, like Benjamin Albright and Bucky Brooks and Dane Brugler and Todd McShay and Mel Kiper and Mike Mayock. These are all, to different degrees, trusted draft voices. Can we all agree on that?
These are made guys.
Made guys. There are plenty of other people that are doing stuff as well, but these are the guys that people will hold up and say, well, such and such said that this quarterback is a generational talent. And I'm going to run with that. And that's going to be my only defense when people push back on Caleb Williams. Generational talent, la, 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 la. Okay. This is how the average of what those guys said in 2017 about the quarterbacks. These are the top 4 quarterbacks according to those guys in 2017 with their rankings. Would you like to guess who number 1 is?
Number 1.
Who the consensus best quarterback in the 2017 draft, according to the names that I just read, who are they? Who is it?
Mitchell Trubisky.
Okay. Ray, would you like to guess? Studs?
Trubisky.
Oh, man.
Because remember, there's Deshaun Watson in that draft, too. There's
I know
Patrick Mahomes.
It couldn't be Deshaun Watson.
Can be. I mean,
It could be.
It could be, but I'm guessing due to the nature of this exercise, it's not.
It's not. It's not any of the quarterbacks that were named.
Oh, who else was in that draft?
Right.
what?
Yeah. You know who the number 1 consensus quarterback of Mike Mayock, Mel Kiper Jr., Todd McShay, Daniel Jeremiah, Dane Brugler, Bucky Brooks, and Benjamin Albright were?
Who?
Deshaun Kaiser.
Oy.
The individual ranks for those by these guys. Mayock had him first. Kiper had him third. McShay had him third. Jeremiah had him first. Brugler had him second. Bucky Brooks had him first. Benjamin Albright had him first. This was the conclusion. Biggest questions facing Kaiser. Kaiser leads the way with 4 first-place rankings among the experts, yet he is not even projected to be drafted in the first round of multiple popular mock drafts. Many scouts believe Kaiser has the highest ceiling of any quarterback in the draft, and that his 2015 tape is the best of this class.
See, now this makes me question if they watched Deshaun Kaiser in college. I, as a novice observer of Deshaun Kaiser, could have told them that's not accurate.
Why does everybody want to keep it like the Kaiser? These are all questions. You're shocked, aren't you, Dan?
Yeah.
It's certainly a name like you don't think of at all whatsoever, at least me.
Uh-huh.
Not at all.
He started in 2017. He started 15 games, and he completed 53.6% of his passes for 2,894 yards, 11 touchdowns, 22 interceptions, a rating of 60.5. He played in 3 games for Green Bay in 2018, rating of 40.5, and did not play. Was on Oakland, which became Las Vegas, and then Tennessee, and then 2020, and then his career was over.
Yep.
The highly touted quarterback prospect only to be forgotten 7 years later.
All right, the next quarterback down, the next rated quarterback was Mitchell Trubisky. Here's how the experts ranked it. Mayock had him third. Kiper had him first. McShay had him first. Jeremiah had him second. Brugler had him first. Brooks had him second. Benjamin Albright had him second. Biggest questions facing Trubisky. Trubisky is tied with Kaiser for the top overall ranking with 3 first-place rankings and 3 second-place rankings among the 7 experts poll. The one exception is Mayock, who has Trubisky third at the position and said he heard Trubisky might measure just over 6'1" at the combine. Since Mayock made that comment, the Tar Heels' stature has become a big topic of debate. Number 3 was Patrick Mahomes.
Did everybody have him 3?
Mayock had him 4th. Kiper had him 4th. McShay had him 6th.
6th?
Jeremiah had him
6th?
Yeah.
Behind which 5?
I believe Nathan Peterman was one of the people that he was behind.
Oh, he should have been fired.
Like, there's no consequence for this?
Daniel Jeremiah had him 4th. Dane Brugler had him 4th. Bucky Brooks had him 5th.
You had Patrick Mahomes behind Nathan Peterman?
And Benjamin Albright had him 3rd.
Sorry about that. Ladies and gentlemen, you know we had conversations after the championship weekend about the NFL being rigged. You know what's rigged, ladies and gentlemen? All of these so-called experts in high school recruiting and NFL draft. All of that information is rigged. That's the only way to explain that type of ineptitude, that type of ignorance. Ladies and gentlemen, all of us watched Deshaun Kaiser in a 4-8 season in 2006. We watched him. All of us watched him. All of us knew he's not that dude. Brian Kelly told people he's not that dude. How in the world did the made men, the draft experts, I know. I always said that certain recruiting platforms were getting paid from this conference, this network, that network, to big up certain teams, all of that. I knew that. That was the business of recruiting in high school and reporting and stars and all of that. I understand that. That's why Notre Dame gets dinged on certain kids. And that's why, they give credit to certain kids, because why? SEC schools wanted them as well. So I'll lean more heavily to these draft experts and these recruiting experts that I tell you the staff at ESPN is like minimal, dude. They don't have a big staff of people going out looking at these kids. So when you look at the rankings, it's like, okay, dude, this is literally 3 or 4 people in the office. Literally. It's no grand evaluation. Yeah, they're going to miss a lot of kids because they don't have the staff. Ladies and gentlemen, what I just showed you is the biggest indictment. I will trust Notre Dame fans and their ability to evaluate the quarterback position over those 7 gentlemen moving forward. That's absolutely ridiculous. There's no way you can watch film of that class and have Deshaun Kaiser. This is just 1 or 2 people. These are the top 7 experts. The top 7 experts. Their consensus top quarterback in the 2017 draft was Deshaun Kaiser. And ladies and gentlemen, this is why on this show, we go to the film. We don't care about stars. We want to see, can this kid play? Can he play? Flat out. When we watched Kenny Minchie's film, and most people saw, oh, he just got bumped up to a 4-star. Oh, look at his offer sheet. It's not a lot of SEC teams on him. And Malik, who coaches the position, worked for the Elite 11, said this dude has an innate ability that a lot of quarterbacks aren't born with to know what to throw, where to throw it, how to throw it. He knows how to feather at the mid-level. He knows how to zing it in at the mid-level. He can change the speed. He can change the arc. He said that's God-given. People aren't able to do that. That's what he said about Kenny Minchie when he broke down his film. The first practice I saw, I stood there and said, Kenny Minchie has the best arm in the Notre Dame football program. Right now, the first day of practice, bam, he has the best physical tools. I don't give a darn what the experts say. I don't give a darn what recruiting platform gave him his stars. I know what I see. And if they put him in the right position and surround him with talent and protect him, Kenny Minchie can do some damage. Now it's up to him how great he becomes. It's up to him whether or not he can lead Notre Dame to a national championship. Same thing applies to C.J. Carr. But ladies and gentlemen, moving forward, that's outright ridiculous. Someone put Will Will Levis was ranked as like the #1 quarterback by 4 of the same 7 last year. 4 to 7. Had him better than CJ Stroud. So what are we talking about? John Massey, Kenny Minchie being hurt has nothing to do with the ability to look at his film. What are you watching on film? I don't give a darn if he missed half his senior season. What does his film say? What does the first 4 games he played and the last 2 games he played, what does the film tell you as an evaluation? That's not an excuse for being able to evaluate the position. Either you can evaluate the position or you can't. And if your evaluation led you to say DeShone Kizer was the best quarterback in that class, I can't trust your eyes. I can't. If you had settled on Deshaun Watson, if you had settled on Patrick Mahomes, heck, if you had settled on Mitchell Trubisky, I might have said, okay. But there's no way, absolutely no way, especially to us Notre Dame fans. We are laughing and saying, wow, because we know what DeShone Kizer put on tape that season before the draft. We know. We saw it. We don't need draft experts to come in. They should have called us. They should have interviewed Notre Dame fans, and the majority of us would have said, that dude ain't it. He's not a first-round pick. He's not worth a second-round pick. Maybe you take him in the 4th or the 5th, but definitely not in the first 3 rounds. You didn't have to go to the draft experts. Go talk to the fans that watch him game after game, week after week. I trust you guys. That's flat out. For my draft advice, I'm going to come on here and just flat out ask you guys, what do you think about this kid? But I'm going to expect subjectivity, because some of you guys are not as subjective at all when it comes to Caleb Williams. You're not. I need you to be subjective. I need you to tell me with your eyes. The same way when we put film on for certain kids, you guys are in the chat talking about, oh, this kid has this. He has that. I like this. I say it all the time. Best fan base to do a show with every day. One of the most knowledgeable fan bases to do a show with every day. Without question. Without question. Chris Ayers, like you said, Kenny Minchie was going to Pitt. People want to ding him for that. I mean, he was committed to Pitt. Yeah, sure was. A kid, think about that. Because you guys might take this as an indictment on the Notre Dame quarterback room. A young man that had just got bumped up to 4-star was committed to Pitt. Decommitted, came to Notre Dame, and was the best talent in the room. Now, you guys let me know. Whether or not that's an indictment on where the Notre Dame quarterback room was. A kid that was 3.5, 4-star, committed to Pitt, decommits, comes to Notre Dame, and the moment he gets there, the first practice, he's the best physical talent in the room. Dude, let's lay it out. Let's lay it out. You're right. I meant to say objective. Thank you for putting that in the chat. So the point we want to make before we get to the film on these 2 young men that we're going to watch. How can you properly, is it difficult, or is the quarterback position, I see my boy Ryan Roberts, Ryan, is the quarterback position the most difficult position to evaluate objectively Because we've already established that the experts, the guys that are the godfathers of this draft, dude, I'm done with them. I could care less. I could care less. And Ryan Roberts said yes. I care less. I'm done with them, bro. I'll hit, and Ryan will tell you, I'll hit Ryan up about a prospect in a heartbeat. And I have Mel Kiper's phone number in here. Bucky Brooks' phone number is in here from my years of working in radio. Dude, damn Daniel Jeremiah, his contact information. Man, I'm not talking to those dudes. They've been bought. They flat out been bought. And I'm not mad at them. Kudos to their success. But I just can't trust their eyes. So you guys tell me, is it hard for you to evaluate? Because if I ask you guys, give me an honest evaluation of Caleb Williams. Honest. Honest. Give me an honest evaluation. Not a Notre Dame bias evaluation. Give me an honest evaluation. Are you going to sit here and tell me that he's a bust? That's not an honest evaluation. If you told me, oh, he's generational, based upon what? Quarterback position is extremely difficult to evaluate. I can say this. The quarterback talent at Notre Dame has increased considerably with Kenny Minchie and CJ Carr. Considerably. And I don't have to be an expert. Lucky Lefty could have sent anyone in the chat to practice, and you guys would have seen the exact same thing we would have seen. You don't have to be an expert, right? You just don't. I didn't play the game. So I'm always going to lean on guys like Ryan Roberts, MALIK ZAIRE, Brian Driscoll coached it, played it a little bit. Like anybody that's played the game of football, I'm going to yield to their knowledge because I didn't play it. And I value people that have done it over people that haven't done it. Doesn't mean that people that haven't played don't know the game. There's a lot of coaches, really good coaches in the NFL that never played the game. They were just geeks and nerds. Never played the game. And they're good at what they do. A lot of different paths to success. But I just have value for people just in my life. My dad, my mom, my grandfather, my uncles, people that have lived it, people that have experienced it. Their words, their thoughts have tremendous value to me because they've done it. But even in that, there are certain things when evaluating the quarterback position that you don't have to be a so-called expert to see. Ryan Roberts, he just said it. He's an incredible talent. Worried about his support system. All of that. All of that's true. But at the quarterback position, this is something else we have to think about. Because I want to point out something in the Super Bowl. Because what we have to stop doing is we have to stop trying to put these labels and just let people evolve and develop into who they are, right? Because who you are doesn't come from who you say you are. It really comes from your peers and what they say. See, before the game, because I just thought about this, Lamar Jackson almost copped the plea before the AFC Championship game when they asked him about competing against Patrick Mahomes. Did you hear what he said? He was like, man, that dude. Did you see his response about Patrick Mahomes? Lamar Jackson knows Pat is that dude. Lamar Jackson is an elite quarterback, and Lamar Jackson acknowledged that Patrick Mahomes is the done data. When you have another great quarterback acknowledge that you're the quarterback of quarterbacks, hey man, there's no better evaluation than that right there. No better evaluation. So when you evaluate Notre Dame's quarterback room, ladies and gentlemen, the physical tools are absolutely amazing. But just like any other quarterback, that quarterback has to fall in the right spot. That quarterback has to be connected to the right coach. And a system has to be put around him along with the talent that can allow him to bring forth the best of his abilities. That's what we're waiting to see from Notre Dame. Can they develop the position? Can they develop the position? Because the physical tools, you can't do. You can't sit back and say, man, all we have right now is Drew Pine and Tyler Buckner. See, that was an excuse 2 years ago. That physical liability excuse, it's a wrap. It's over. It does not exist. It does not exist with Kenny Minchie. It does not exist with CJ Carr. It does not exist with Deuce Knight. And heck, Ryder Lyons, Brady Schmeigel, and the other kids they're looking at, it doesn't exist with those kids in 26. Now we solved that problem, right? Patrick Mahomes, incredible talent. If he comes to the Bears, his first 6 seasons probably aren't the same. Let's be honest. It's a bad organization. They've yet to show that they can develop the quarterback position. They've yet to show that they can evaluate the quarterback position. Multiple times they've had rogue general managers to make decisions, literally run out of the draft room and make decisions that were different than the consensus in the room that included the head coach and the rest of the scouts. It's happened multiple times with the Chicago Bears. This is the type of culture. The Bears don't have a winning culture. The Bears aren't. So you're dropping Caleb Williams. I don't care. Ryan Roberts said he's an incredible talent. You're dropping that incredible talent into that culture. That's what you're doing if they take him at number 1. You're not going to see the best of Caleb Williams off the bat. No. Could he elevate and change things? Yeah. Are you going to see the best of them? Nah, not going into that culture. No. If Caleb Williams was going to Andy Reid, yes. If he's going to Shane Steichen, yes. If he's going to the 49ers, oh, heck yes. Hell yes. Excuse my French. You're darn right. You're darn right. Quarterback play is more than talent. Who's developing you? What system are they putting you in? Ladies and gentlemen, this is why Gino Guidugli has value. This is why Mike Denbrock. Forget CJ Carr and Kenny Minchie. Their value is coming. What did we read yesterday from Pat 40? What has Malik been saying? Riley Leonard's an incredible talent. See, people, they forget that. They just want to say, oh, you guys are hating on Riley Leonard. He flat out said, Riley Leonard is a talent, but he is yet to prove on the big stage that he can impact the game via the pass. He's yet to do it. Didn't say he can't do it. He hasn't proven it. He has to prove it on the biggest level in some of the biggest moments at a big-time program. And that's tough. Can he do it? He has the talent to do it. Will he do it? We'll all wait and see. And it's funny how he said that months ago, and now multiple national people have come out and said the same thing. Yo, he has to prove it in the passing game. Talented, but he has to prove it. Some people I see the name Steve Angeli in the chat. Some people believe Steve Angeli, in a small sample, has proven that he can lead at Notre Dame and that he can make an impact in the passing game at Notre Dame. Some people believe that. That's their evaluation. I need to see more. I need to see Steve Angeli in a hostile environment on the road. I need to see that. That's one of the things that immediately made me feel great about Ashton Craig. Ryan Roberts was with me on the post-game show in Clemson. I said, yo, I'm cool with Ashton Craig starting. The fact as a third stringer and a youngster that he came in the fourth quarter in the middle of a hotly contested game on the road as a center and showed himself well tells me a lot about who he is. And I'm fine if they move on from Zeke Correll. And what happened? Notre Dame made the decision. You know what? This young man is the future at center. Dude, don't run from what your eyes tell you. Don't run from it. If Caleb Williams goes up against a defense that can put pressure on him, he's going to struggle. But heck, we just saw Lamar Jackson struggle with that. We saw Patrick Mahomes struggle with that in the playoffs when he lost to Joe Burrow and the Cincinnati Bengals. They forced him to his left with pressure and mush rushed him and didn't allow him to make off-schedule plays, which is his strength. And he was forced to quarterback from the pocket, which he has gotten better at. That's the evolution of Patrick Mahomes, going from 50 touchdowns, just incredible throw dude every other series, to now I can quarterback and manage the game from the pocket if I have to. He's incredible. But he's able to do that because he fell in a position with a culture in Kansas City where they were going to the playoffs with Alex Smith. And Alex Smith was a veteran-proven quarterback that had played well in San Francisco, came to Kansas City and played well. He just couldn't get the Chiefs over the hump. And he had Andy Reid. He sat for a year behind Alex Smith. He learned from Alex Smith. And while he was learning from Alex Smith, every week in practice, all that was being talked about is, did you see what this dude did in practice? It wasn't the rest of the NFL. It was his teammates, his peers, his coaches, and the starting quarterback that were looking saying, good God, this kid is amazing. It was the right culture and the right position. Deshaun Watson, Houston has proven that they can take quarterbacks. Matt Schaub, they made him a Pro Bowler at quarterback. Deshaun Watson, they made him an Pro Bowler at quarterback. CJ Stroud. There is recent history to say, yo, the Texans know how to evaluate whatever scouts they have. They know how to evaluate, and for some reason, they've been able to develop or put the right pieces or the right system around their quarterbacks to allow them to produce. That's one of the only things we haven't seen. We've seen Notre Dame recruit the position much better. Gino Guidugli, in my opinion, Steve Angeli, what we've seen, if you want to evaluate that small sample size and say, yo, I think we can win with Steve Angeli, that's a direct reflection of Gino Guidugli. And if he can take Steve Angeli and make him better, I feel real good about what he can do with Kenny Minchie, CJ Carr, and eventually Deuce Knight. You throw in or sprinkle in a little Mike Denbrock as the chef, getting the offense to look like whatever it needs to look like for every different type of quarterback in that room. And what do you have? Notre Dame hopefully taking a step in big games offensively. That's what you got. Notre Dame taking big steps in big games offensively because the quarterback position has been elevated. But I'm telling you, man, it is tough to be objective when you evaluate quarterbacks. You have to eliminate every bias you can. I'll give you an example. My first time meeting Bruce Feldman was when he was on his book tour years ago. He was in Chicago. We got him to come to the studio to sit down with myself and Jared Payton for our podcast. When we get done, he starts to ask us about the quarterbacks in their draft class. And he asked me about Jared Goff. And I flat out told him, I'm not even a draft expert. I said, I'm going to be honest. I didn't play the game. I'm not a draft expert. I said, but I look for one thing when it comes to a quarterback. And he said, what's that? I said, how he plays when the talent is more or better on the other side. When the other team has more talent, I want to see if he competes. I want to see his heart. And I want to see if his production drops because of him or just me having the objective knowledge that his talent is not as good. Because I can be objective in that way. And I said, when I watch Jared Goff, he is elite against teams in the Pac-12 that have less talent or equal talent to Kyle. I said, when he plays USC, when he plays Oregon, I see a little drop off. And it's not directly correlated to the talent. I said, I think he can be a really good quarterback or a good quarterback in the NFL. I don't think he's a bust. I said, connected to everybody else in the class, if you take him number one, fine. I said, but he has to have a system and talent around him, and he has to have a run game. And I never played the game. I never played the game. I went off my premise of watching people compete when they don't have the advantage. That's huge to me. I watched that in basketball. I watched that in baseball. That matters to me. Your willingness to compete. Patrick Mahomes is one of the greatest competitors. Tom Brady is one of the greatest competitors. Joe Montana, ladies and gentlemen, great quarterbacks are great competitors. You cannot be a great quarterback if you're not a great competitor. And it doesn't take me being an expert, and it doesn't take me playing the game to know that that exists across the board in sports and in life. You have to be willing to compete in tough circumstances. When bad things happen in life, you have to be willing to stand up and compete and say, I'm not giving up. That is a trait of greatness anywhere in life, anywhere. And I could take that simple thing and watch a football game and watch a quarterback and say, which goes back to what Ryan Roberts said, great talent, but I worry about the people around him. What Ryan Roberts is really saying is, I wonder how much he really wants it. I wonder how great of a leader he's going to be. I wonder how much he's really going to compete. I will say this. Exclusion, the Notre Dame game, because they were just outmatched in the trenches. Vegas knew it a week before. I knew it. Malik knew it. Ryan Roberts, everybody, dude, that we were connected to on the platforms knew it. Notre Dame is going to punish them in the trenches. And that's exactly what they did. And he didn't play well. He didn't play well. Now, outside of that, you go watch him play. Go watch the ungodly plays he made against Washington. Go watch some of the ungodly plays he made against Oregon. USC loses by 50 in both of those games if Caleb Williams is not playing. 50. So the talent is undeniable. The other nuances, where does he go? What culture is he stepping into? Who's coaching him? All of those things are going to be determining factors on what we see from the young man. It's the same thing with Drake May. Talented quarterback. Jay Daniels, talented quarterback. Yeah, he's in college. Yeah, he had a great year in his 5th year in college. Who's to say he can't continue to trend upward with good coaching and a good situation? Who's to say that? A lot of people think the story is over for Your boy down there with the Carolina Panthers. Bryce Young's story isn't over. It's not done. You think it's just done? It's automatically? Okay. All right. We're about to see how competitive he is. We're about to see what he's all about. It is what it is, man. So, yes, the experts said in 2017 that DeShone Kizer was the #1 quarterback prospect in that class. That's what the experts said. I want to seal this up by saying this, and then we'll get to some film and let you guys go. Stop worrying about, and this is the argument that myself and Malik got into about the DeLaurier kid out of Georgia. Stop worrying about where a kid comes from. Stop worrying about how many stars he has. You know how many 5 stars are bust? We can do an article about that. Maybe Ryan Robertson and I will do research on the 5 stars over the last 4 years and how many of them actually reach their potential based upon recruiting rankings. I'd be very interested in that. Very interested in that. It's a pretty good bust rate in that. So Notre Dame fans, don't get so caught up in stars and rankings and all that stuff when it comes to this Notre Dame staff and the kids they go after. What does the film say? What does the film say? Lucky Lefty podcast. And now we go to the film. Ethan Utley, 6'4", 275, out of Tennessee. Al Washington is on the road to see this young man today. And I'll tell you something. When you talk about who he is and what he's going to be, let me bring that off the screen right quick. When you talk about who he is and what he's going to be, man, this young man is absolutely the big-time, versatile, athletic talent that Notre Dame needs. Let's get to his film, because you're going to see him make play. Look at that. Burst off the edge to the quarterback. His movement is 6'4", 275, and we have to worry, too. A kid that's already 275 to 6'4", he's not going to have any problem getting up to 290 to 300. None. Did you see that quickness? The fake outside, quick move inside to beat the tackle. Those are the type of things when you evaluate film and you evaluate athletes. That's what I'm talking about. What does the film say for this young man? He has tremendous quickness at 6'4", 275. And he looks like he's well put together. He doesn't look like a sloppy 275. Takes his time, patient rush. Now watch him just explode. Ainsworth, high school, Tennessee, 6'4", 275. He has variety as well in his pass rush. I like that. He's working on counters. He's already working on being able to rush inside, being able to speed rush, discard the hands of the tackle, and get to the quarterback. And he has a nice arc. Look at that. I was just talking about that. Discard his hands, get to the quarterback, flush him out, and then relentless, still making a tackle 8-10 yards down the field. This young man, if Al Washington, because Al Washington has done an incredible job. The teams are doing an incredible job. But if he can, I don't know how this Tennessee violation thing is going to impact recruiting moving forward. But if he can get this young man out of the state of Tennessee, and if Notre Dame can start to plant some type of flag, right? That's why the Beasley kid and his recruitment and all the positive things he said about Notre Dame was vitally important. We've been saying this. In this era of recruiting, it's not just important to win. It's just as important to come in second and third and make an impression. And when you make an impression on the #1 kid in the state, and he talks about the head coach, he talks about the coaching staff, even though he still chooses Tennessee, the top players in the state coming behind him are listening. They're listening. This young man is incredible talent, man. He's incredible talent. Great length as well. Love this young man. Ethan Utley, Ensworth High School, Ensworth, Tennessee. 6'4", 275, rated as a 4-star on most platforms. Look at this. Lucky Lefty podcast. Incredible talent, man. Incredible talent. And I hope he can be an addition to the 2025 recruiting class. Now, I'm excited about this young man that we're about to watch next. And as I said before, I'm starting to catch a vibe. I'm just starting to catch a vibe. I'm not saying he is Mike Mickens. And I saw somebody in the chat say it earlier. Mike and Mike are getting it done. I like that. Mike and Mike. I like that. That could be a dope little name for Mike Mickens and Mike Brown on the recruiting trail. Paying homage to the old Mike and Mike show on ESPN for many years, which in my opinion was an incredible show. It really was. But this kid, man, wide receiver, anytime Mike Brown has a new offer or it's reported that he's checking on another kid, like Vernon Allen out of the DMV area, I get excited before I even watch the film. I'm like, okay, I just want to see what he sees. So we check this young man out, Vernon Allen. Let's get to it. What I saw was a kid that's very competitive, loves 50-50 balls, loves going up. Once again, they jump the first 2 plays, 50-50. Go make the play. Now you see him in the red zone, quick release, cha-cha-cha, to the inside, sail to outside, gets to the inside, catches the ball with his hands, takes the hit. I'm like, yo, watching this film, I'm saying, yeah, I see what Mike Brown likes about this kid. You want to see speed? There you have it. Long strider. Watch his release. Once again, great at the 50-50 ball, making plays down the field. Type of kid that can come in, take the top off the defense. Look, he eats up the distance on the DB. Once again, goes up, makes the catch. Great move. What have we been saying? What's the one thing that you see from all of the offers? Mike Brown loves young men at the wide receiver position that are good after the catch. This dude, I don't even think he stayed in bounds, but he just went up and made the catch over the defensive back. Once again, after the catch. Great balance, stays on his feet, gets to the end zone. I already see the trace. Mike Brown, dude, your offers are telling. You like dudes that can do things and be playmakers with the ball in their hands. Now they put him in the slot. We've seen him in boundary, we've seen him in the field. Now let's put him in the slot. Of course, broken coverage, blown coverage, wide open. Another kid at the wide receiver position. I'm not mad. I'm not mad at all. If Notre Dame gets this kid, I'm not mad. Because this tells me that Mike Brown looks at kids and says, yo, that's the trait I want to see. Everything else, I can coach. We can elevate him here. Once we get him here, we can elevate him. But at the baseline and at the floor, these are the traits we want. And these are the traits we're going to go out and get. Most of the guys he's offered great hands catchers, great with the ball in their hands, and they're playmakers down the field. Speed variations, whether or not they're 4.4 guys or 10.5, 10.6 guys in the 100, like Alex Cyrus, who's just a blazer on the football field. I'm not saying this kid is that, but can this kid be a playmaker? You're darn right. You're darn right. I think he can develop into a really good receiver on the college level. Now, if you ask me to rank like his film based upon the other kids, you know, I have some that I favorite more than this young man, Vernon Allen, but I like this kid. Like, there isn't a kid that Mike Brown has offered that I would just flat out be like, like every kid he's offered, I would be just fine with that young man coming to Notre Dame and watching him develop. Look at the physicality. Yo, he's a competitor. That's another thing that jumps out. He likes to compete. You can see it on the 50-50 balls. You can see the way he's physical after the catch, breaking tackles. He's a competitor, man. I think that's another trait that Mike Brown's looking for. He wants to see guys that compete at the wide receiver position. His legs look a little bit thick right there as well. The weight doesn't tell the story, but if you look at it, man, his legs, his thighs look like they're a decent size. He's not too skinny. You see a lot of red zone stuff, but he's definitely a red zone guy for his high school squad. Once again, over the top. Look, Vernon Allen, DMV, Mike Brown is checking him out today. I like the dude. I like him a lot. I do. And I've yet to see, I'm telling you, man, I've yet to see film on any kid that has been offered by Mike Brown since coming to Notre Dame as a wide receiver coach that I can flat out say, I'm not really feeling this kid. I'm cool. 6'3", 193. And just the way he's built below the waist looks like, yo, yeah, he's going to be a strong physical guy and still give you some speed and be great with the ball after the catch. I like the kid. I do. That's Vernon Allen from the DMV, 6'3", 193. Mike Brown, wide receiver coach, is checking in on him today. Baltimore City College High School, Baltimore, Maryland. Lucky Lefty podcast, man. Hey, man, look, let me tell you something. When you get a chance to watch film, as much film as we watch, you know, recruiting these kids, anytime we hear a whisper of a name, and then, look, I have kids that follow me, and Ryan Roberts can attest to this, kids that want Notre Dame to, you know, watch their film. They'll connect to us on social media. You know, coaches will say, man, you need to check out my kid. So I watch film. And some of the film, I'm like, okay, this kid is pretty good. And some film, I'm like, I don't think he can play at Notre Dame. So, yeah, you're probably right. There's 20 receivers that I like. Like, everybody was on Jaden Greathouse. That was a layup in recruiting, right? You watch his film. But then Rico, honestly, last year was like a late riser, to be honest. And I was on Rico from the jump. I was like, yo, there's something about this kid that I like. And I remember reporting watching him run routes after the first weekend of practices. I was like, yo, this kid is going to play. I know Jaden Greathouse is going to play, but I said Rico Flores is going to play early. You can just see it, man. It's just certain things you can see. The technical aspects, and then just the competition level. Kids that just want to compete, man. So, yeah, it's like Mike Brown, it's easy to fall in love with the film of the wide receiver offers because Mike Brown and the traits he wants was not to love. So you see a kid that wants to compete, catches the football with his hands, and is great after the catch, playing wide receiver. Yo, those are 3 traits that everybody would love. Now, I can rank those and say, yo, these are the guys I want. If you give me the 3 guys that I want, it would be 1, 2, 3. But if you take any of the 9 new offers, man, I ain't sustained. I have no objections to any of the new wide receiver offers ended up at Notre Dame. None. I bang the gavel as the judge and say sustained. Flat out. Kudos to Mike Brown. Great show today, man. You guys helped me host. Left, I don't know what's going on. I'm sure he's going to want to jump on with you guys a little bit later. So you guys are going to be blessed today. You're probably going to end up getting a night show. You're probably going to end up getting Lucky Lefty After Dark. All because Left had technical difficulties this morning. I appreciate you, Jason Smith. I appreciate you, man. I appreciate you. Shout out, happy birthday to Braylon James, too, man. Former Notre Dame wide receiver. Saw it was his birthday today. Happy birthday to you, BJ. Great success to you during your time at TCU. See, I was talking about Ethan Utley. I tried to ignore it. This is what listening is a skill. I never said Roosevelt Carney was ready to play inside. I hope no one in the chat said he's ready to play inside. What I said was, by the time a kid 6'4", 275 gets to Notre Dame and hits the weight room, 290 and 300 is easy. That's easy. He's going to play at 290, 300. At 290, 300, and I see the chat, he can play inside. At 6'4", 275 with length, you're darn right he can play inside in certain packages, especially on passing downs. So I see that conversation that was going on. He has that potential. But I think he is versatility. But it's all about how they want to use him. If he's 6'4", 275 now, good gracious, he's going to be absolutely incredible. Thank you guys, man. We had a great show. We talked about evaluating the quarterback position, the evaluation of how it's impacted the quarterback room in Notre Dame, and what we expect from that position moving forward based upon the coaching hires. Things have been elevated. Right, Notre Dame fans, now it's time to see the output on the field, especially in big games and big moments. We talked about the hot topics, which were Riley Leonard, his injury, the injury report, the news that broke yesterday, who to believe, what to believe, and knowing that Riley Leonard is going to come before the Notre Dame media and talk about it for himself sometime next week. And then we talked about Chad Bowden, his value. If Notre Dame is truly about winning, this is another opportunity to prove on top of Mike Denbrock that you're investing in winning a championship at Notre Dame. Great show. You guys are the best as always. You know what time it is.
Petticoat, 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 Junction.
It's time to get petty.
Oh, we did a good job executing. Are you upset with something?
And fire up the Petticoat Junction train.
I just don't like you. You don't? No.
What is today's petty historic Petty Junction?
Petty Junction, Petty Story today brought to you by Nora Whiskey at NoraWhiskey.com, that premium American whiskey at NoraWhiskey.com. Tyrese Halliburton, come on down, my dude. Come on down. Let me see your ticket, sir. Yep. January 31st, 2024. I'll go ahead and punch it. Welcome to the Petty Train, my friend. Look here, man. You're young. And sometimes you just need to know when to shut up. NBA institutes, because of business, they know the negotiations for the new TV deals, according to reports, is about to be monstrous. Monstrous, which means the revenue sharing for the players and the trickle down for player salaries is about to go up. And you as an NBA player need to shut the hell up when you don't know what you're talking about, because it's obvious you don't understand the business. See, when you sit there because you have a nagging hamstring injury that you keep rushing back from, and that you don't know how to properly take care of to get back on the court, and you keep re-aggravating it, you want to sit here and say that the 65 game limit to be considered for postseason awards or regular season awards is stupid. No, my friend, you're stupid. First of all, talk to your team rep so he can sit down and explain to you 1 + 1 = 2. The 65 game thing isn't about you. It's not about the players. It's not even about awards. It's just something they formed because they couldn't come out and flat out say, hey, we have to put this in place to make sure that the networks feel good about when they have nationally televised games that the best players are going to play. So to put this in place to make them feel better, it puts us in better position to negotiate the amount of money that's going to make all of us richer. 1 + 1, my man. Learn the business. Shut up. The NBA could care less about regular season and postseason awards. They don't care. All they care about is the money. The rule is in place for the money. And just because your hamstring is barking, it doesn't mean that you should bark. Because your bark has no bite. So go back to the facility. Allow the trainers to rub you down, my brother, and get you ready to get the Pacers into the playoffs and lose in the first round. That's what you need to get ready for. And it's foolishness that Tyrese Halliburton and other players don't understand what's going on. Nobody cares. At this point, Joel Embiid should care less about awards. He should care about being healthy and winning a championship. That's it. You're at that point in your legacy, man. Okay, so what? You win an MVP and you get bounced in the second round? What does that really say? Because see, Nikola Jokic won an MVP and then went on to win Finals MVP. That's what I'm talking about. That's legacy. That's legacy. Ladies and gentlemen, I wish Malik was on here for this. Do you realize in his entire career, Michael Jordan averaged $4 million in annual salary? 4. That's including the last 2 years where he made upwards of 30. His last 2 seasons with the Bulls. He averaged $4 million. 4. You're talking about the greatest of all time. The greatest of all time. $4 million. The bulk of his money came through Nike, endorsements, movies. Just a great businessman. Great businessman. But you know why he did it? You know why the money didn't make a difference to him? Because he knew that it was the game and his performance and him showing up that was going to be the foundation of his empire. See, the problem with these young players today is that they're getting paid $20 million and ain't doing nothing, averaging 9 points a game, getting $20 million a year. That's the problem. So that's the problem. That's the problem. The money is the problem. The money, and you don't understand money and make stupid statements like that, Tyrese Halliburton. You don't understand the money game, but y'all getting paid, like rookies are getting paid more money than Mike ever averaged, than Mike's entire average for his career. Zach LaVine getting upwards of $30 million. Doesn't impact winning one bit. Not one bit does he impact winning. Not one bit. 30 million. Now they're trying to get rid of him because Kobe White is the dude for the Chicago Bulls now. Kobe White and DeMar DeRozan, they're the dudes. And now there's no trade value for the man. Why? Because you gave him the max contract. I told you 2 years ago, let him walk. Let him walk and develop your young players. I said it 2 years ago. Take the hit. You'll be in a better spot in 2 years. And here we are. We have no choice. Yes, you do. Choose winning. Choose winning. Take the accountability and responsibility to evaluate, coach, and develop players. How about that? Instead of overpaying players. And that's the problem. You got a league full of overpaid players with minimum production that don't know a darn thing about the business. You know why they don't know a thing about the business? They don't care about the business. Bird cared about the business. Magic cared about the business. Jordan cared about the business. Ewing cared about the business. Elijah One cared about the business. You want to know why? Name those 5 players? Because those 5 players showed up and played 82 games over 5 times in their career. They didn't need the players' union to negotiate load management. They were on charter flights, playing 4 games in 6 days, 4 games in 5 days. And these spoiled brats, these spoiled athletes are flying charter, getting back 2 hours later to sleep in their beds, making money they haven't even earned yet. And they got the nerve to sit up here and complain about a 65-game rule. Man, shut up. That's why the NBA product is horrible. It's flat out horrible. That's why we can't even give proper respect to a 70-point triple-double from Luka Doncic. Because the product on that night was terrible. It was a horrible basketball game. No competitive spirit. None. You know why 63 in the Garden in a loss is legendary? Because of the competitive spirit. It was a double overtime game where Michael Jordan was going up against 5 Hall of Famers and single-handedly took them to double overtime. And even though he lost, it's legendary. Why? Because of the competitive spirit of the game. It matters. And we have a league full of players that aren't willing to show up. They aren't willing to show up for the fans. The 5 players I named showed up every night for the fans. They didn't show up for the check. They didn't show up for the commissioner. They showed up for the fans of the NBA, and that's why the NBA exploded globally, because the players showed up for the fans. Why is the NBA struggling right now? Because you have a league full of players that are all about the money, that don't give a darn about the fans. That's why All-Star Weekend sucks. That's why the dunk contest stinks. And that's why Steph Curry had to call out Sabrina Ionescu for a 3-point contest to give some type of drawing to All-Star Weekend. Now, I want to watch that. Yes, I want to watch them shoot against each other. The 2 greatest shooters in the NBA and the WNBA. I care less about the dunk contest. I care less about the game. Because the actual game has stunk. Flat out stunk for almost a decade. It's horrible. We have to find ways to get the players interested in their weekend to celebrate them. I'm going to say that one more time. You have to get the players and find ways to get the players excited about the weekend that celebrates them and their greatness. How does that make sense? In what world does that make sense? Where? If you have children, ladies and gentlemen, do you have to struggle to get them excited about their birthday? Or do they start telling you months in advance what they want and what they want to do for their birthday? Please explain this to me. Please explain this to me. It's absolutely ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous, man. Young athletes, care about your game and give a darn about the fans. That's all we ask. Compete and care about the people that are actually paying big money to come watch and tuning in. When you get your profit sharing and your revenue sharing from the league. That's us. But fans, I have to blame us as well, because the Bulls continue to do what they do, because Chicago Bulls fans continue to lead the league or be in the top 3 in attendance with average product. That's on us. That's on us. Can't say it any better. Lucky Lefty Podcast. You guys are absolutely the best, man. We appreciate you. Don't forget, go over to the Lucky Lefty Pod store, man. Great merchandise we just dropped. The hats are going to be dropping really soon. Hats like this. I'm going to have material. You see the Fashion Geek Chenille. This is the Chenille material, very soft. We're going to start getting sweatshirts in this material as well. Go support right now. I'm going to put the link to the store in the chat right now. The link is also on social media all over the place. Lucky Lefty Pod on Instagram and Twitter. And I believe Malik put something up on TikTok as well. So there's the link to the store. Let me pull the store up right now. There we have it. There's the store right there on your screen. And right now I'm about to put the link in the store. We appreciate you guys supporting us. We released 3 collections. The promo code is Early Bird. Promo code Early Bird, man. That gets you 10% off. Put that in at checkout. Of course, all major credit cards, and then also Afterpay. If you want to break it up into 4 payments, there it is, man. You see, we have our 1842 stripes that salutes the end zones at Notre Dame Stadium, put inside Lucky Lefty. And then on the back, I can show you guys on the back. It says 1842, Lucky Lefty on the front with the end zones. And then on the back, 1842, which is when the University of Notre Dame was established. You got it in black, you got it in green, and then you have it in the navy blue if you want to have the Notre Dame colors or stick to the Lucky Lefty colors, man. So we have that collection that we jumped off, and we can go back. We also have the Spin It Different. This is the Spin It Different all over, where we have the word Spin It Different going around as if it's spinning around the shirt. Cool design. Shout out to Alonzo Jackson from Fashion Geek who gave us the idea. And then the right sleeve is the actual Lucky Lefty logo. It's a dope hoodie. Good cotton material. Man, perfect to sit down and watch Lucky Lefty podcast. Also from that, we have the crew neck, Spin It Different on the front. And then you have the Lucky Lefty logo on the back right there. Big and small. Goes from small all the way up to, believe, about 5X. And then we have our LL logo, which is stitch. This is stitch right here. This is stitching right here on this hoodie. So people are like, yo, I've had somebody say, man, $55 for a hoodie. I'm like, yo, that's stitching, my brother. That's not paint. That's not just something that's just going to wear off. That's actual stitching of the Lucky Lefty logo right there. And then just to accentuate it, we got it on the sleeve right there as well. The LL with the football on your left sleeve as well. So we're giving you a lot. We're giving you a lot, man. And we're going to bring the fashion and Spin It Different in apparel when it comes to Notre Dame football and the Lucky Lefty podcast. So those are some examples of what's waiting for you over at the Lucky Lefty store. The link, once again, promo code Early Bird. I'll put the link in the chat one more time, and we're definitely going to put the link up on all the YouTube postings that we have. All right. Thank you guys so much. We appreciate you. Great show. Probably be back with you guys. We'll put it on social media if Left wants to come back on later on tonight. Have a great Wednesday, but most of all, make sure that you spin it different.